Hey everyone, it is July 16th, 2025, and we're currently standing outside the beautiful Beacon Theater. This is a staple of Manhattan's Upper West Side, and on today's walking tour, we're going to be exploring exactly that. The beautiful, the stunning, the gorgeous, one of my favorite neighborhoods in Manhattan, the Upper West Side. We're on the corner of 74th Street and Broadway. We're going to be going down, checking out Lincoln Center, making a U-turn, coming all the way back up, and checking out the very famous Dakota, which sits on the corner of 72nd Street and Central Park West. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now on the walking tour, you're going to notice some of the most really stunning and gorgeous architecture anywhere in the city. I mean, some of these buildings on the Upper West Side are just absolutely breathtaking. That's one of the biggest selling points, in my opinion, of living on the Upper West Side. You get some really great pre-war buildings. You get some of the most gorgeous brownstones in the entire city of New York. And quite frankly, it's pretty quiet up here as compared to Midtown Manhattan. I didn't know they opened this store across the street. This is called Goods for the Study. This is a really good stationary, kind of like journaling store. I believe their main location is in Soho. I used to go there quite a bit when I would frequent that neighborhood, but it just caught my eye here. I didn't know they opened a location on the Upper West. This is the original Apple Central Savings Bank. It's a beautiful building. Unfortunately, there's scaffolding all around it, but as we make our way to 72nd Street, and as we stand outside of the main subway terminal here, and we look back, you're going to see the beautiful architecture on that building. This is Broadway and 73rd Street. Here you can get the 1, 2, and 3 trains. If you're visiting New York, just remember that the 1 train runs local, so it'll hit every single stop all the way down to the South Ferry, which is the Staten Island ferry terminal. 2 and 3 run express. You really never know what you're going to run into in New York.
The Uptown Sputters. Find us on Instagram at Uptown Sputters. Please tag us in photos and videos you might be taking. We have a Tim Bucket Benville booth here. Please visit it. We are all living, working artists here in New York City.
Again, looking back at this gorgeous, gorgeous architecture here. Amazing. And it's pretty lively out. It's about 4:48. So people are probably just getting off of work. This is now the corner of Amsterdam Avenue. This is headed over towards Central Park West. You have Gray's Papaya. It's a very famous spot. You also have the main Trader Joe's here on the right. Again, it's a really nice change for once. Then looking at all the just basic glass skyscrapers in Midtown, there's just so much character here. It's really, it just really feels like you're in a neighborhood setting when you're walking around the Upper West. We'll head down to Lincoln Center, and maybe the Lincoln Center fountain will be on. Now, you are slowly starting to see a lot of the newer developments come to the Upper West Side. I would say the most recent one is Extel's development. And if you know the Extel Development Company, they are most known for pioneering Billionaires Row with 157 West 57th Street and 217 West 57th Street, which is Central Park Tower. But now they have a brand new development on 65th Street that is similar sort of style, right? Complete glass facade. Doesn't really blend well with the neighborhood, but I think it'll sell well. Here's another gorgeous building. Look at this. Just so much detail. You have that juxtaposition across the street, that glass skyscraper that houses Trader Joe's. There's a ton of Bondi sushi locations throughout the city. They're pretty good. Not bad. Now, if you look all the way in the distance, you'll start to see the beginning skyline of Midtown Manhattan, specifically Columbus Circle. You have the Deutsche Bank Tower, and you also have the Hearst Tower as well. I really like the side streets on the Upper West Side. You have a lot of those beautiful brownstone buildings. Shakespeare books. Oh, it actually looks like maybe the Strand took over Shakespeare books. Strand is a really good bookstore. New York City independent since 1927. If you're visiting New York and you want a really good bookstore to go to, I would take a trip down to the East Village and check out East Village Books. They have a lot of really nice rare books there, and predominantly the majority, if not all the books there, are used because they buy books and things like that from estate sales, and you could find a few hidden gems there. I managed to grab one of the original copies of Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, based on the life of Jesse Livermore, one of the original prints. And you know, if you go on eBay or something like that, I mean, that book is worth probably $3,000 or $4,000. I don't know how they missed that, but I think I bought it for like $7. Usually those guys are pretty good at pricing things appropriately, but apparently they missed that one. So here you have these gorgeous tree-lined streets. You can only imagine how beautiful it is during the fall when all the leaves are changing. And here's the West Side Restaurant in the Upper West, 69th Street and Broadway. Unfortunately, a lot of the original diners in the city are closing down. It's just so difficult for mom and pop restaurants to survive in a city where the rents are so high. Seems like only the big corporate chains are able to survive, unfortunately. So of those kind of local, I would say smaller mom and pop diners and restaurants, I try to support as much as possible. One of my favorite restaurants on the Upper West Side is Carmine's. But if you can eat at Carmine's, make sure that you bring a friend or a family member, because they sell the individual dishes family style. So the portions are tremendous. So not ideal to go and eat by yourself unless you're very, very hungry. This is now West 68th Street, headed southbound. Now everybody, in a moment, you're going to start to see Lincoln Center, but you're also going to start to see the Juilliard School of Music, which is not only one of the best music schools in New York City, but really one of the best music schools in the entire world, to be quite honest. We'll see if it's busy with summer classes going on. As you can tell, there's also massive amounts of scaffolding all over the Upper West. The general rule of thumb is that you'll see more scaffolding where the buildings are a little bit older, because they have to do the mandatory facade work and restoration. Okay, now you're really going to start to see the skyline of the city expand a little bit, and it's going to really start to feel like you're in New York City. This is the 66th Street Lincoln Center subway entrance. This is the 1 train. You could also get the M5 bus that'll take you all the way to the George Washington Bridge. M7 as well will take you all the way to Harlem. To the right on the corner of 66th Street, you're going to see the Juilliard School Irene Diamond building. And of course that iconic Empire Hotel sign, Hotel Empire. Once we turn this corner, you're going to be able to see the facade of that new Extel building we were talking about. And it's very unique. We haven't done a walking tour of the Upper West Side in a while. So you're going to start to see the main facade come into play on the building. And it's almost like this goldish, brazed copper sort of feeling. It's very unique. And I think it's growing on me a little bit. Once we get to the corner of Columbus and 66th, I'll try to point the camera towards the sky and you can see it. Let me know if it comes out on the camera, but you can see it on the new Extel building. The outer trim around the windows is like this coppery gold brush. Pretty interesting. This is looking northbound, deeper up Columbus into the Upper West Side. We'll cross over and take a quick peek at the construction site. Might as well since we're here. This is 2 Lincoln Square. These are luxury rental apartments. "50 West 66th Street is the address. The new Extel development. Look at how cool this is. My favorite thing about the development is the balconies. Not a lot of buildings on Billionaires Row have balconies. 157 does, but there's only 2 units in the building that have outdoor space. I mean, if you're right on Central Park, if you get a balcony that overlooks Central Park, I mean, that's money right there. It's absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Here you can see it a little bit better. Now, I was reading a little bit about the architect, and they wanted to make the building resemble a stone that has been hit with a chisel for like craftsmanship. And from a distance you could see it. I mean, the building is in a great location, right? Because you're right at Lincoln Center. You're steps away from Central Park. You're near Columbus Circle, which is a major transportation hub. And you're within walking distance to a lot of grocery stores. You have the Whole Foods that's right at 59th Street, Columbus Circle, in the Deutsche Bank Tower. You really have everything you need. Just a really beautiful block. Now, my favorite building on the Upper West Side has to be 15 Central Park West. Now, 15 Central Park West is the Zeckendorf building. The architect on the project is the famous Robert A.M. Stern. Hence that beautiful limestone facade on the building. And Robert A.M. Stern also did 220 Central Park South, which is the Dorado development. You'll be able to see both as we make a right on Central Park West here. Another thing I forgot to note is that you're right next to Tavern on the Green. This is the main entrance to Tavern on the Green right here. And this is looking up northbound on Central Park West. But this is really amazing here. These gorgeous views of Billionaire's Row. If I zoom in, that limestone building, that's 220 Central Park South. The glass building in the back is Central Park Tower. That's actually the tallest building on Billionaire's Row. The one in the middle is 157. That was the original Billionaire's Row building. And then the one on the left is the Steinway Tower. Currently at the Steinway Tower, there's a quadplex on the market for, I think, $110 million. We'll see if it sells. It is really rather peaceful living on the Upper West Side, though. You cannot beat Central Park, I always say that. Here's a little bit better view of the Steinway Tower. Look at that, nestled perfectly in between the tree line. That is such a cool shot. We'll head back towards Lincoln Center. Now from here, you're going to see a better angle of that Extel building. Pretty unique. Really love these buildings too. Something about those kind of cast iron fire escapes just bring its own special charm to the city. So even though on one end I'm happy about all the new development, but on the other hand I really hope we're able to preserve over time at least some of these timeless buildings here. Now, some of the buildings in Soho are historically protected, meaning you can't take them down, which I think is a good thing. But the problem is some of these buildings are really old, which makes it hard to upkeep and very, very expensive to upkeep as well. Lots of cafes too. Okay, now we're back on 65th Street and Broadway. You're going to see a lot of foot traffic pick up as we enter the heart of Lincoln Center. And you know, it looks like there's some sort of event going on. Maybe it's that Summer City concert series, perhaps. Look at this, everybody. There's going to be a Wegmans coming here. Now, I can tell you with 100% certainty this is going to do fantastic. That even makes the Upper West Side better. Wow, I'm pretty excited for that. We're going to have to do a full video tour once the Wegmans opens. The second Wegmans in New York City is at Astor Place, and that one is doing really well. The first one is in Brooklyn Navy Yard. This is the Rosetta Bakery. There's many locations throughout the city. This one's quite nice here on the Upper West, because you have a great outdoor dining seating area here. It's always very lively too. Between 64th Street, and 63rd, there's this row of restaurants that's really nicely placed, because you can get a nice dinner and then walk right across the street and see your show at Lincoln Center. It's great. You have the Smith here, Cafe Fiorello. Lots of good outdoor dining space. It's a little hot out. I think it's almost 100 degrees in the city today, so maybe not that many people choosing to dine outside. There's the outdoor dining structure for the Smith. It's a really nice vibe here. And then of course looking over these beautiful buildings all along Central Park West. I want to take a quick detour here and make a left on 62nd Street and we'll walk around the perimeter of the famous 15 Central Park West, one of my favorite buildings in the city. And again, this building was constructed with tens of thousands of individual slabs of limestone. But what Robert A.M. Stern did is he used the same exact rock quarry that they used to construct the facade of the Empire State Building. So as you can see here, this is the northwesternmost side of the building. Look at how beautiful that limestone facade is. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Now this building is famous for having a lot of notable residents. Most notably on Wall Street, I would say the former CEO of Goldman Sachs, Lloyd Blankfein, has a really nice unit here with this beautiful outdoor terrace overlooking Central Park. To the right, you also have the New York Institute of Technology. If you were to walk over one more avenue, that's also the campus of Fordham University. And Fordham just underwent a big renovation too. It's beautiful up there. There's this outdoor sky garden where you could, have lunch, get some studying done. It's a really amazing campus in the city. And even further over from that, you have my alma mater, which is the CUNY John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Now, John Jay College used to be an all-men's college that was like a feeder school for the NYPD Police Academy. Many students who attend John Jay now want to go to law school or pursue a career in the NYPD, FBI, CIA, and the like. Now, this building right here is 1 Central Park West. This is the Trump International Hotel and Tower. And you have 3 components of this building. There's 3 main doors. In door number 1, you have the main entrance to the Jean-Georges restaurant. In the middle door, you have the entrance to the International Hotel. And then you also have the residences at Trump International Hotel and Tower. Great views of Central Park, great views of Billionaires Row. Really stunning property there too. Now looking off into the distance, you're going to see another Billionaires Row building that was developed by our friend Harry Maclow. That is 432 Park Avenue. It's kind of cool how we could see it from all the way over here. But here we are at 15 Central Park West. This building is really one of a kind. Look at the main valet, the main roundabout. It's really an unbelievable building. Very, very similar to 220 Central Park South. Beautiful. Now this building is Steinway Tower. You could even see it glistening in the sunlight. There's a red Cybertruck. Stunning backdrop of Billionaire's Row. Here's the front entrance of 15 Central Park West. Here you have it, developer Zeckendorf Development, and then Robert A.M. Stern. So stunning in there. We'll make this left on 63rd Street. And we'll check out Lincoln Center. pass right in front of the main entrance of Hotel Empire. Back here is the Smith again. This is a pretty good shot of the Extel building here. You could actually see into some of the units too. You also have that PJ Clark's. And here we have it. Here we have Lincoln Center, Summer for the City. I think they have like this silent disco thing here. Wow, look at that disco ball. Such a beautiful place, Lincoln Center. Alright, if you guys enjoyed this walking tour of the Upper West Side of Manhattan, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. And as always, we will see you in the next one, and thank you so much for watching. Take care. Today we are once again on New York City's Upper West Side, looking down to the Billionaires Road development on 57th Street. And on today's walking tour, we're going to be exploring a little bit of the differences that are set to come, or potentially set to come, on New York City's Upper West Side. Now, for some context, the vast majority of buildings on the Upper West Side are pre-war, beautiful, cooperative buildings. But as you've seen on New York City's Billionaires Row, over the years, developers here in New York City have been building these mega tall skyscrapers. Many people don't want them on the Upper West Side or the Upper East Side. However, there has been plans submitted already by Extel for a 1,200-foot residential super tall tower that would sit at 77 West 66th Street on Manhattan's Upper West Side, right next to their current new building that is already set for occupancy. So, as we walk the streets of the Upper West Side today, we'll point out some interesting buildings. We'll do a compare and contrast of the old New York to the new New York. And you, the viewer, the audience, can make up your mind yourself as to say, we welcome the new change from the old, beautiful, pre-war architecture of the Upper West Side and welcoming in the new glass-encased super talls of the future. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll let you make up your own mind. So, this is West 60th Street and Broadway right now. This is the main entrance to the subway here at Columbus Circle. This is the one train entrance where you could take it downtown. For some context, we're standing right outside of the Deutsche Bank Center. This used to be the Time Warner Center, and related properties actually developed this building that you see right here. Now, before it was the AOL Time Warner Center, this used to be the Manhattan Convention Center. And ever since the Jacob Javits Center was built, it left the Manhattan Convention Center really all dilapidated and run down, which made this part of the Upper West Side actually not too safe and not too inviting. It was only until Related stuck their neck out and proposed the development of the AOL Time Warner Center did the area really become revitalized and really made way for New York City's Billionaires Row. This was really like a test project. If you stand all the way back, you'll notice how the current Deutsche Bank Tower resembles a little bit the old Twin Towers, the World Trade Center. There was a lot of critics back in the day that thought nobody would ever want to sign a lease or live in a building that resembled the World Trade Center. But turns out it was one of the most successful projects of its time, which really kind of paved the way for a lot of these other beautiful new buildings. Not a lot of people know that, but it's true. I mean, looking at the area now, this is one of the most well-kept, kind of upscale neighborhoods in the city. Right here you're looking at 15 Central Park West. This is the Zeckendorf building. Very famous architect Robert A.M. Stern worked on this project and later joined the team at Dorado to do the architecture on 220 Central Park South. In today's video, we'll try to walk all the way up towards the Dakota, which was really one of the first apartment buildings built on Manhattan's Upper West Side. There's some really interesting photos back in the day of ice skaters ice skating around Central Park, and the only building in the distance in that photo is the Dakota. Now, rumor has it, when the Dakota was built, the only reason why they started calling it the Dakota, because it was so far away from Midtown Manhattan, it was so far away from everything, that they said, oh, it's like living in the Dakotas because it's so far away. It's kind of how it coined its nickname. now walking northbound on Broadway. We are coming to the corner of West 62nd Street, which will lead us right past Lincoln Center. Now, this building right here is the brand new Extel building. And you can kind of see inside some of the units. And you can even see some of the balconies. Looks amazing. Now, Extel Development has proposed a 1,200-foot, 90-story residential tower at the former ABC headquarters site, which we'll walk past in a minute. It's located 77 West 66th Street on the Upper West Side, so in about a few blocks here we'll hit the main proposed development site. Now, this is a big if, but if approved and constructed, the new Extel skyscraper would become the tallest building in the neighborhood by a significant margin. It's going to far surpass the current tallest one, which is the one we just looked at, 50 West 66th Street. That's 775 feet tall. As you know, the CEO and founder of Extel is Gary Burnett. He is one of the top real estate developers in New York City, and he is very, very skilled at a process called assemblage. So slowly over time, accumulating the necessary parcels of land in hopes of combining those lots to build a bigger development. Also, a lot of these real estate deals in New York City require the appropriate assemblage of air rights as well in order to build as tall as they want. The current site that we're going to walk to right now was acquired, I think, in 2022. It might have been 2021 or 2022. I think it's 2022. But they paid about $931 million for the site right there at the former ABC headquarters, their campus. This is now overlooking Lincoln Center. And behind us is the Empire Hotel, Hotel Empire. As you can imagine, every time a big real estate developer comes in the community and wants to build one of these ultra luxury condominiums, there tends to be a lot of pushback from the community. And on this project, there was a significant amount of pushback, as you can imagine. So Extel, apparently they've offered to build around 100 affordable housing units in 2 nearby buildings as sort of a voluntary gesture to the community. The local community board 7 has requested at least 20% of the development to be dedicated to permanent affordable housing and has called for the Department of City Planning to review the proposal. We'll see if that ever gets done. I highly doubt it, but we'll keep our eyes and ears open on that judgment. For me personally, I just can't imagine looking at the skyline in New York City, particularly the Upper West Side, and visualizing it transform into a billionaire's row, right? If you look at the skyline of the Upper West Side or the Upper East Side, it's more, pre-war, lots of landmark old co-op buildings that are not very, I should say, super tall as the ones in Midtown. It's almost as if we need to preserve the character of the Upper West Side, but at the same time, I don't want to kind of fight the progress and the innovation. Right now, we're looking at the Juilliard School. This is one of the best music schools in the world. And then again, looking back to Lincoln Center, and you could see a little bit of the new campus of Fordham University as well. Go ahead and cross here. And we're coming up on 66th Street, where we'll make that right. And we'll check out the new Extel development site, and we'll also talk about 50 West 66th Street. Alrighty friends, here we are, 66th Street. We'll bang this right and you'll be able to see the ABC campus. This is actually the main newsroom where you'll see the main anchors just filming the local news. And then down here with all the scaffolding, this is the proposed development site. But before we talk about that, let's quickly talk about 50 West 66th Street. This is the recently topped out luxury residential skyscraper, obviously developed by Extel, Gary Burnett's company. The tower stands 775 feet, or about 236 meters. I think it's about 69 stories in total, obviously making it the tallest building in the neighborhood. I mean, it's quite obvious. This is the Upper West Side. It's going to have about 127 high-end condominiums ranging from spacious 2-bedroom units all the way to a full-floor penthouse with over 1/3 featuring private outdoor spaces and corner, sort of like balcony canopy hangout spaces with beautiful views overlooking Central Park. If I step back a little bit and I point the camera up, you'll be able to see it. Kind of has this brushed bronze facade. Now the building's facade uses limestone and burnished bronze up to the 16th floor. Then it sort of transitions to glass with bronze outer trim. You can't really see it from this view, but the 16th floor is a communal terrace. Has this interesting engineered stone setback. You also have the Sky Lounge. Since this is a luxury condo, it's going to have tons of amenities. There's 50,000 square feet of amenities in this building, including the Sky Lounge, landscaped terrace, indoor and outdoor pools. They're also going to have a squash court and a basketball court. I believe they'll also throw pickleball in there, full bowling alley, golf simulator, and of course a 24/7, 365 fully staffed lobby attendance. Now again, remember from the beginning of the video, this is the main entrance to 50 West 66th. But we talked about how the Upper West Side is historically co-ops. Now, if you purchase a co-op, you're technically not purchasing the physical property. You're purchasing shares in a corporation. It's very, very important to know, particularly if you're looking to buy something in New York City, because oftentimes you'll see an apartment that'll be priced slightly less than market, and you'll be like, oh, that seems interesting, but it's probably a co-op. So a condo, you're actually purchasing the property rights. In a co-op, you're purchasing shares within the overall corporation of that building. Co-ops can be a little bit difficult, let's just say that. Cooperatives do not need to give you a reason as to why they may have denied you in their building. That's why if you're going to purchase in a co-op, it's good to work with, a real estate broker, a real estate agent that has a proven track record of board applications. It's a very, very laborious and sometimes cumbersome process doing those co-op board applications. Looks like we're going to have to go all the way to Central Park West so you can see a little bit more of the building. But let's talk about pricing of that building. Now, condos are going to start at $4.6 million with overall prices in terms of price per square foot, probably $4,000 a foot, right around there. Probably on the average end, $4,000 a foot. It's already about halfway sold out. I think in 2024, Q2, Q3, they were about halfway sold. Obviously, Extel has a very good reputation being a developer, so their buildings tend to sell out pretty quick. You're also right on Central Park, and you're located right here on Tavern on the Green, which is pretty cool. Okay, we have the light. And here's a much better view of it. If I zoom in, you'll be able to see those balconies all the way up there. So this is 775 feet. For context, 220 Central Park South is 950 feet. And Central Park Tower is 1,550 feet, which is a little crazy. So this new Extel project, again, if approved, is going to be 1,200 feet, 90 stories. Pretty incredible. We'll see it if it ever comes to fruition, but man, 1,200 feet on the Upper West Side. We'll see how that turns out. This is now Central Park West and 67th Street. As you'll see here, this is one of the main entrances to Central Park. And also an entrance to Tavern on the Green. It's really nice and quiet here. Now, most recently on the Upper West side of Manhattan, in terms of Q2 2025, the median sales price was about $1.3 million. Number of sales in terms of total closed transactions on the Upper West, Q2 2025, about 578 homes sold. And in June, the most recent data we have, the median sales price for June was $1.4 million. If you like to look at median price per square foot, that's really how we price things here in New York and value real estate on a price per square foot basis. You're looking at about $1,400 a foot. I think $1,423 a foot to be exact. It's the median price per square foot for the Upper West. This is now 70th Street, Central Park West. Pretty soon we'll come up on 72nd Street in Central Park West. That will be the Dakota. Now on the corner of 71st Street. The Dakota is also a cooperative or a co-op building. We spent the first part of the video talking about condos, particularly Extel's development. But the Dakota is probably one of the most famous cooperatives in New York City. It's located at 1 West 72nd Street. And it was constructed, took about 4 years from groundbreaking until completion of the building between 1880 and 1884. Now, the architecture is considered German Renaissance, a Victorian style as well. It is the oldest luxury apartment building in New York City. And it's also a historic landmark building. Both a New York City landmark building and a national historic landmark building. This is the Majestic. It's kind of nice too. You'll start to see the main facade of the Dakota coming into play right now. You'll start to see the beautiful facade, obviously made of brick, also sandstone outer trim with those classic terracotta details. Check this out. What a beautiful, beautiful building. The Dakota. Now in the building, each apartment is very, very uniquely designed. Ranges from up to 4 to 20 rooms with original high ceilings, fireplaces, and lavish original details from hand-carved oak ceilings, as well as those beautiful, heavy, very, very heavy and durable marble mantels. You could also see the original gas lamps as well. Isn't that amazing? This is one of my favorite buildings in the city. Gorgeous. I just want you to take a minute and admire some of the details. You can see the original wood paneling around the windows. That stunning corner right here on Central Park West. There you can see the original gas lamps too. This is right where John Lennon was shot. Look at the detail in there. Quickly stop and admire the beautiful architecture here. Just an amazing, amazing brick facade. You could even tell the windows are the original windows there. Very well kept. I love it. This is now coming up to Columbus Avenue, 72nd Street and Columbus. Now the building adjacent to us has gone under full facade restoration, and it looks amazing, doesn't it? It's a really, really beautiful building. I really like all those moldings. I'll try to zoom in so you can see it. Take a look at that brick and mortar outer trim, all that molding there. Really quite nice. Now I'm going to look southbound just to sort of make a point. Obviously, as you can see within the frame, you have all of these beautiful, pre-war brick and mortar, red brick facade buildings. But in the distance, now you can see, kind of sticking out like a sore thumb, the 50 West 66th Street building that we walked by earlier. Now imagine if the city approves those plans for Extel's new 1,200 foot tower. That is really going to stick out like a sore thumb, and I don't think it'll, mesh well with the original architecture of the neighborhood. Now, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? That's really not my job to judge that. But I think it's going to take some time to get used to that. Because when you think about the Upper West Side, you think of literally what you see here. And the concern among the residents is, are we going to have the Upper West Side turn into just glass skyscraper 1,000 feet tall and above? I don't know. It's a tough one, because when I think about neighborhoods like the West Village, like Greenwich Village, it's kind of similar. You have a lot of those beautiful townhomes, low-rise, pre-war, brick and mortar, really, really stunning brickwork and masonry for the facades. I hope a lot of that doesn't go away. Obviously, if it's a landmarked building, it won't go away. But a lot of the other ones could potentially be fair game if people want to sell out. This is a very good coffee shop called Black Press Coffee. I've been going here for years. Very, very good. It sits on the corner of West 73rd Street and Columbus. As you know, the Upper West Side is also known for its gorgeous brownstones. There's nothing like an Upper East Side townhome, and there's nothing like an Upper West Side beautiful brownstone. We're going to head up a little bit towards the Museum of Natural History, which is on 86th Street. I just have to turn around and give you this shot real quick. As you know, I love the water towers. I think it's just so iconic New York, looking at the water towers on top of the buildings. I want to make a quick right on 74th Street, because this is one of my favorite blocks to look at these beautiful brownstones on. This block is really, really pretty in the autumn when the leaves start changing colors. We also have Patsy's Pizza just off to the left. All right, check these out.
These are like.
What do you guys think? Just the craftsmanship on these. They definitely don't do this anymore. It is very, very, very aesthetically pleasing. I mean, come on, look at that. These are so nice. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Would you rather live in a super tall glass skyscraper? Or would you much prefer kind of one of these Upper West Side brownstones? Let me know your preference. Look at these. These stoops are really grand.
But yeah, so they're talking about going to Poland.
Looks like the owner of this one is doing a complete overhaul renovation. This will probably be converted into a single family home. A lot of the multi-family brownstones over the years have been bought out by wealthy individuals and converted into single family. This one is really spectacular. Look at that. This one has a really nice Juliet balcony. Wow. You can see one of the people out on the balcony right now. Wow, this one is amazing as well. Look at how grand this stoop is.
Oh my goodness.
I like this one, this little holdout here. Looks like this building managed to hold out. Sandwiched in between these two other apartment buildings. San Remo. Another very, very famous building here. 145 Central Park West. This is now the New York Historical Society here. Beautiful building. All right, West 77th Street and Central Park West. We are now officially at the Museum of Natural History. Wow, look at all the pollen on the ground. But it's so beautiful here, isn't it? Take a look at all the landscaping. This is Theodore Roosevelt Park as well.
How bad is it? What do you think? I don't know. This is from the council.
הם אמרו לי ואני חיפשתי איך מגיעים לתחנה 81.
Here we are at the Museum of Natural History. Well, let me know what you guys think. You saw some of the new developments, the new condos, the super talls that are set to come to the Upper West Side, and you've also seen some of the most famous Upper West Side co-ops from the 1800s. Are you concerned about the ever-changing skyline of the Upper West Side, or do you welcome those said changes? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. Drop a like on the video, subscribe for more, because we have a lot more content coming up specifically talking about the new development changes coming to some of the most prominent neighborhoods in New York City. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Take care. Hey everyone, and today we're going to be exploring the Upper West Side of Manhattan. However, we're going to be doing it through one of New York City's greatest architects, Emory Roth. Emory Roth was a Hungarian immigrant who came to America in the late 1800s. He started out with very little, pretty much nothing actually. He worked as a draftsman and rose to become one of the city's most important architects. Now, why is he important? You may be asking yourself, what is so significant about Emory Roth? Well, that leads you to why I started the walking tour right on Central Park West. Emory Roth defined the skyline of Central Park West. His buildings gave the Upper West Side its iconic look. The tall, elegant apartment towers with beautiful detailings and luxurious layouts. And on today's walking tour, we're going to be exploring exactly those buildings, from the San Remo, the Beresford, the Dorado, and the Oliver Cromwell. We're starting off today's walking tour in Central Park, right on 72nd Street. Right as we make this left here, you're going to see the famous Dakota building, as well as the unbelievably recognizable Strawberry Fields. The park is in full bloom. It's the Tuesday after Labor Day weekend. But you could still see those two towers of Emory Roth's San Remo, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. The first stop on the tour is going to be the Oliver Cromwell, and we'll work our way north up Central Park West. You may also notice a trend on today's walking tour as we're talking about those notable buildings. All of them are cooperatives, so they are not condos, meaning it's a different style of ownership. When you purchase in a co-op or a cooperative, you're not purchasing the property rights, you're actually purchasing shares in a corporation. When you're purchasing in a condo, you actually purchase the property rights. Aside from the beautiful work of Emory Roth on Manhattan's Upper West Side, it's just an amazing neighborhood. It's so calm, so welcoming, so inviting. You have Central Park as your backyard, but you also have Riverside Park. That's a park that not a lot of tourists and really people who are not from New York City very, very seldom talk about. But that is actually one of my favorite parks in New York City. There's a little bit of a fun fact. When I was in college, we would have our soccer practices right in Riverside Park on 103rd Street. So if Central Park gets a little bit too crowded for you, maybe it's during peak tourist season, that's all right. You could just walk all the way to the west side and you have another beautiful park pretty much exclusive to you. So if you live in any one of these buildings that we're going to be talking about today, such as the San Remo or the Oliver Cromwell, well, You have two beautiful parks to choose from. However, before we have Emory Roth steal the show today, it would be a travesty if I didn't talk about this building right here. Arguably one of the most recognizable buildings in New York City. This is the Dakota building on Central Park West. It is one of the most historically significant and architecturally remarkable apartment buildings in New York City. This was completed in 1884 and it was developed by Edward Clark. Most people know of the Dakota because of the Beatles singer John Lennon, who unfortunately got murdered right here on the corner of 72nd Street and Central Park West. Stunning architecture. Now, construction began on the Dakota in late October of 1880, but it was completed in October of 1884, making the Dakota one of the first luxury apartment buildings on the Upper West Side of Manhattan and setting a new standard for a posh city living. The Dakota features a German Renaissance architectural style with an ornate Renaissance Revival facade that you can see here. I'll try to zoom in on that American flag up there. It's a very unique shot. Now, its completion marked a transition from New York's elite, from single-family homes to luxury apartments. The developer Edward Clark was also a lawyer and co-founder of Singer Sewing Machine Company, which brought him a significant amount of wealth and influence in New York City. By the late 1870s and early 1880s, Clark began purchasing massive swaths of land all along Manhattan's Upper West Side because he envisioned an upscale residential neighborhood to anchor wealthy and up-and-coming families away from Midtown Manhattan up towards the park. In terms of the architectural integrity, the very famous architect Henry Hardenberg was tapped to do the designs of the Dakota. He later went on to design the famous Plaza Hotel right on Central Park South, the exact address being 1 Central Park South. He also collaborated on dozens of other projects in the city. In any event, right as you enter Central Park, you'll be able to take a trip to the very famous Strawberry Fields, which is right here. I just thought it would be appropriate to point out before we continue on our tour. It's a stunning building. If you'd like to follow along with us, I would suggest pulling up Google Maps. But if you'd like to see some of the actual apartment listings that we're going to be talking about, I would advise pulling up streeteasy.com. And I'll be giving out the addresses as well as the apartment numbers if you'd like to take a look at some of the floor plans and some of the pictures and even some of the videos of these apartments. Quickly show the main entrance to the Dakota here. This is the exact spot where John Lennon was killed. And those are the original gas lanterns that sit outside the Dakota. There's not many of these original gas lanterns left in New York City. There's another original gas lantern right outside the Players Club, or the Players. That is down by Gramercy Park. Well, evidently so, in classic New York fashion. Right in front of the beautiful Oliver Cromwell, which sits at 12 West 72nd Street, we do have all of this scaffolding. However, I think from this side of the street, you can get a pretty good idea of just how stunning this building is. So again, if you're on Google Maps, we're right now on 72nd Street between Columbus Avenue and Central Park West. The exact address is 12 West 72nd Street. This is one of Emory Roth's earlier Upper West Side projects, just before he started on the big tower co-ops like the San Remo. It's not as massive as the others, as you'll see as we continue on our walk, but it's quite elegant, I'd say. You could look for the neo-Renaissance styling, those vertical lines, the decorative cornice along the roof line. I'll try to zoom in, but you have all that scaffolding, unfortunately. But the Oliver Cromwell was a stepping stone for Emory Roth. It shows the refinement and attention to detail that would lead to his more famous masterpieces on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. It's quite nice. If you turn over to streeteasy.com, currently there appears to be, I think, 5 total listings for sale at the Oliver Cromwell right now. The most affordable listing in the building being a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. It is Unit 12E, and it's on the market for $799,000. However, if we go all the way to the top of the building, I want you to check out listing Penthouse B, which sits in the crown of the building. It's pretty stunning. Some of the photos on Street Easy are quite remarkable. But it's a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom apartment. Sweeping views over Central Park. You could see every single building on New York City's Billionaires Row, as well as Central Park South. And this is a combination of units. So whoever purchased the particular apartment purchased subsequent apartments in the building and combined them together. According to the listing description, it says a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to purchase a legendary trophy penthouse. It's a 4-bedroom triplex with a tremendous terrace right here at the Oliver Cromwell. The layout is on the 27th, 28th, and 29th floors. You have breathtaking views of Central Park, the entire city's skyline, and even a little bit of the Hudson River. If I stand back here, you can see a little bit better the very top of the Oliver Cromwell. A little bit unfortunate that you have all of that scaffolding at the top. Perhaps we'll have to come back a little bit later and film a video without the scaffolding. Still a beautiful building nonetheless. Perfect location too. You're right on Central Park West. And Columbus Avenue has some of the best restaurants on New York City's Upper West Side. Also, you have a lot of great coffee shops too. In addition, it helps to be neighbors with the Dakota. Which is also one of the most strict cooperative buildings in New York City.
La verdad es que no tengo que pasar.
Unfortunately, with a lot of the buildings on the Upper West Side being sold, you have to do the mandatory facade restoration work, which means there will be scaffolding more often than not, let's just say. I want to quickly bring you all over to Columbus Avenue, just so you can get a feel of the neighborhood, some of the shops, the surrounding architecture to the buildings here. As we head uptown, I'll point out one of my favorite coffee shops on the Upper West Side. It's called Black Press Coffee. It sits between 72nd Street and 73rd Street, right here on Columbus Avenue. And this is heading northbound towards the Museum of Natural History. This is Zucker's Bagels to our right, which is a very, very good bagel shop. We're going to make this right on 73rd Street here in a moment, but I just wanted to take a quick detour to show you this coffee shop. When I used to live at 106 Central Park South, in the mornings I'd grab the newspaper and walk all the way up here just to grab a coffee at this spot. It's a wonderful neighborhood spot. I'd much rather go to the local coffee shops to support the small businesses, but that's just me. In stark contrast to a lot of the Art Deco architecture that we're going to be talking about in today's video, in the distance you could see those two glass skyscrapers, one of which being the tallest residential apartment building, Central Park Tower, that was developed by Extel, and then you also have the newest Extel building that's on Manhattan's Upper West Side. And there's been a lot of talk about the preservation of the architectural integrity of the Upper West Side, and a lot of people don't want these glass super tall skyscrapers encroaching on a lot of the old 1929 and 1930s really history of the Rosario Candela buildings as well as the Emory Roth buildings. We will also be doing a series on Rosario Candela. Much of his work on the Upper West Side of Manhattan can be found on West End Avenue. But check this out. This is a great shot of those two spires at the San Remo. We'll wait for the light and then we'll cross. You'll also be able to see these gorgeous townhouses as well. One of the things I love the most about Manhattan's Upper West Side are all the beautiful brownstones, which pretty soon are going to be decorated in the most elegant way possible as the fall and the autumn start to take over the summer. Once again, for those following along on Google Maps, we are now on the corner of West 73rd Street and Columbus Avenue, headed eastbound to Central Park West. It's also quite nice to see a lot of the mom and pop stores still open and operating. they haven't all been kind of taken over by major corporate conglomerates. How about this? Stunning brownstones here. Great tree-lined streets. If you really like brownstones, I would really recommend checking out a neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York called Brooklyn Heights. You have the most elegant and stunning brownstones overlooking some of the best views of Lower Manhattan. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Would you rather live in an elegant brownstone on Manhattan's Upper West Side? Or would you rather live in an Emory Roth style co-op such as the San Remo? It's quite a tough choice. Wow, take a look at the chandelier hanging on the inside of this one. Looks like the facade has been recently touched up or renewed. I should say restored. This is really something here. Check out, I'll zoom in on this for all of you. That is a gorgeous wooden door. If you'd like, you could punch in 145-146 Central Park West into Google Maps as well as Street Easy. That is the exact address of the San Remo, the building that was built in 1930. Wow. More beautiful architecture. This is the Park Royal. I think this was built in 1926, this building that we just passed. However, the San Remo was Emory Roth's first twin-towered apartment building. And the only reason why this design came about was actually by mistake due to a New York City zoning regulation in the 1920s. That's why you have those kind of layered designs at the top as well as those required setbacks. The same thing happened to Rosario Candela. As you follow along here on Walks in Wall Street, we're going to be doing a complete series of the Rosario Candela buildings, and we're going to be talking about the exact zoning regulation, mainly because a lot of the buildings that were being built at the time were casting these dreadful shadows over the street. So in order to prevent that from happening in the future, the city said, look, you have to have the buildings kind of have these dramatic setbacks at the top, so the whole street isn't just cast and cloaked in darkness. And out of that, we got a lot of creative architecture from the likes of Rosario Candela and Emory Roth. This is now the northernmost side of the Dakota apartment. We'll be able to see a little bit inside the courtyard from here. I'll probably have to stand back a little bit from the street so you guys could see what I'm talking about. But that zoning law, Emory Roth used that to his advantage and turned that rule into an opportunity by adding 2 elegant towers that rise above the 17-story base. It's funny, we're doing a walking tour of the Upper West Side, but for visuals, it's probably better to film on the Upper East Side of Manhattan so you could see those 2 beautiful towers. Now, inside, the apartments were designed with foyers, dining rooms, and spacious layouts. They would coin it luxury living in the sky. Look at how beautiful this is. Very pretty. As we approach the building, a little bit of a fun fact for you all. The San Remo has some of the most famous residents in all of New York. At one point, I believe Steve Jobs purchased a unit here. However, I don't believe he actually lived here. Maybe somebody could fact check that, but that is what I read. So Steve Jobs did have an apartment here, 145 Central Park West at the San Remo. I don't believe he actually lived here at all, but you also have Bono, Demi Moore is here. Not bad company to have. Try to zoom in there. You can see it's a designated landmark building in New York City. It was the first twin-towered residential skyscraper built on Central Park West. And it's interesting because it's quite the juxtaposition. As you look down to Central Park South, you'll see a lot of the Billionaires Row-esque buildings that sit in such stark contrast to the architectural integrity of the San Remo. I'd like to note the elegant landscaping around the building. I'll try to zoom in on a lot of the architectural details for everybody. If we're talking pricing and we're talking real estate sales, there's only 1 unit in this building available for sale right now, and that is Unit 4C. So again, if you'd like to follow along with us, if you go to streeteasy.com and punch in 145 Central Park West, the San Remo, you'll see it was built in 1930. Spans 28 stories, and there's 138 units in total in the building, with only 1 listing on the market right now. This is one of the most exclusive buildings in New York City. Now, apartment 4C is a 10-room apartment, 3 bedrooms, 4.5 bathrooms. And it's listed at $15,750,000. The maintenance fees per month are $12,494. Here you have the second entrance to the building. Just look at that detail around the front entrance. And in that particular apartment, you have direct Central Park frontage. Stunning. But the crown jewel at the San Remo I'll try to pull up the listing for all of you. It's quite an impressive unit. I'll give you the unit number right now. I want to direct your attention to Penthouse C, or PHC. It was last available in March of 2020. Get this. The penthouse has 17 rooms in total. 6 bedrooms, 5.5 bathrooms. Spanning 7,968 square feet. We'll cross over towards Central Park so we could see those beautiful 2 towers. Now, if you do the math, 50 million bucks, 7,969 square feet, that means they priced the crown jewel apartment at the San Remo at $6,274 a square foot. That is buku money, my friends. But is it worth it to live in the crown jewel at the San Remo? I think so. Kleinworth building is also beautiful. Look at that. Some of the best architecture is on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, in my opinion. I'll read a little bit of the listing description to all of you. Again, if you want to follow along, go ahead and check out Penthouse C at 145 to 146 Central Park West, right here at the San Remo. It says the San Remo Penthouse is a 3-story, one-of-a-kind mansion in the sky in one of Manhattan's most iconic and revered pre-war buildings, located at 74th Street and Central Park West. Sitting atop of the South Tower of the twin-towered San Remo, this penthouse vies as one of Manhattan's greatest trophy penthouses, with its rare opulent scale, wraparound terraces, and mesmerizing views in all 4 directions, including Central Park, the city's skyline, sweeping views of the Hudson River, and all the way to the George Washington Bridge and beyond. That is impressive for a building on Central Park West. So you get the top 3 floors in the South Pencil Tower of the San Remo. Stunning. So that was stop number 2 on our tour. We have 2 more Emory Roth buildings to talk about. But now I'm going to take you back to Columbus Avenue, because I want to show you the neighborhood. I want to show you these beautiful brownstone apartments and these brownstone townhomes as well. Look at this one with that nice Juliet balcony they have. The most impressive thing about that penthouse at the San Remo, your first floor has 36-foot ceilings in the living room. You're really not going to find that anywhere else. Actually, I can guarantee you won't find that anywhere else. Wow. We're now going to be headed northbound on Columbus, and we're going to take a quick walk around the Museum of Natural History. Where I'll also make a few restaurant recommendations for all of you. So if you're visiting the city and you do happen to make your way to the Upper West Side, might I suggest trying out Jacob's Pickle, as well as a Thai restaurant called Sen, S-E-N-N. Now, in full disclosure, a good friend of mine who I've known for a long time is the owner of the restaurant Sen. However, she also owns another Thai food restaurant which just received another Michelin star in Brooklyn, New York, and that is called Tong, T-O-N-G. So you could rest assured that the food is good. If anybody is planning to come to New York City and you want to go to any of these restaurants that I've mentioned, feel free to send me an email first so I can make sure that you're well taken care of before you venture on in, okay? Wow, another beautiful building here. You know, when you're buying an apartment, when you're buying a co-op or a condo or even a townhome, it's important and it's obvious to make sure you like the inside of your individual unit and your individual building. But what I think is also more important is the neighborhood and your surroundings, right? You could have the best layout, the best floor plan possible, but if the neighborhood you're in is subpar, it's not going to hold its value. You're also not going to be happy there, because New Yorkers spend the vast majority of their time outside their apartments. The main benefit of living in a city like New York is to enjoy what New York has to offer. The great restaurants, the great parks, Central Park, Riverside Park, which we talked about, all of the museums, Museum of Natural History, great coffee shops, great restaurants. Okay, we're now in the corner of West 75th Street and Columbus Avenue. And this is by far going to be the money shot of our tour. The beautiful Emory Roth San Remo. However, the best view of the San Remo, as I've said before, is going to be from the Upper East Side of Manhattan looking westbound over the park. But still, if you want to come and check out that exact view, I was standing on the corner of 75th Street and Columbus Avenue. 76th Street has more of these beautiful brownstones, tree-lined streets. I am for sure going to redo a walking tour of the Upper West Side right as the leaves are changing. It's almost like a magical experience walking New York City's Upper West Side in October. So I'm looking forward to filming that. All right, everybody, we are approaching West 77th Street and Columbus Avenue. This is going to be the Museum of Natural History. Look at all the great outdoor dining space here. Just a picture-perfect day. If we were to make a right, this will loop us back to Central Park West and to the main entrance of Central Park. But we're on the westernmost side of the Museum of Natural History. We're about to pass West 78th Street now. The next stop on our tour is going to be 211 Central Park West. For all of those following along on Google Maps, it is going to be the Beresford, which is another absolutely gorgeous Emory Roth building. Wait until you see the architecture on this one. This is also a 1929 building. If you notice a lot of the dates, 1929, 1930, this is when the economy was rocking, right? All through the roaring 20s leading up to the 1929 stock market crash. So people were flush with cash. A lot of people were getting extremely and seriously rich. If you think about those architects like Rosario Candela, who were his clients? You talk about the Vanderbilts, right? The Astros, some of the wealthiest families in America at the time had the big money. And in my opinion, I think that's one of the many reasons why architects like Rosario Candela designed the apartments to be so massive, right? Because it's not only true that, yeah, the facades of the Rosario Candela buildings are beautiful, but it's really the interior design and the interior architecture of his buildings and the individual units. That's why a lot of people purchased them, is they were like mansions in the sky. In any event, here's the new exhibit here at the Museum of Natural History. This is the Science, Education, and Innovation Center. This is now 79th Street and Columbus Avenue. If you go to 79th Street and Broadway, that's going to be the main one train entrance. You can get the subway, but you also have Irving Farm Coffee Roasters there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so she's looked at her now.
You can see a little bit of the Beresford here. So you're going to make a right on West 81st Street and head all the way to Central Park West, where that'll drop us right off at the Beresford. This building was built in 1929, spans across 20 stories, and it has 193 units in the building. If you're interested in purchasing a unit there, there's only 7 units for sale in the building. Since we have this light, we'll go ahead and cross to the northernmost side of 81st Street. The architectural style is the Renaissance Revival style. You'll notice this massive and stunning limestone base, as well as the terracotta ornament and a bold detailing around the windows of the towers. The inside of the apartments were designed to feel like private mansions. If you look at some of the photos on StreetEasy, you can see these huge galleries, multiple fireplaces, and sweeping views of Central Park. The Beresford is one of the most prestigious co-ops in the city, and its towers are a major part of the Upper West Side skyline. As we've discussed in previous videos, oftentimes it's not only the money that will get you into these buildings, but it's the full package, right? If you are a major celebrity and you have a lot of bravado behind your name, potentially you'll be having a lot of paparazzi and causing a lot of commotion. Very seldom will you be able to get accepted into a lot of these exclusive cooperatives. If you don't fit the bill for the building, well, the co-op board will not accept you. Lots of people in positions in education live in this building. Some notable professors from Columbia University, New York University. Also some prominent voices and figures in finance, in the private equity business, the hedge fund business, called the Beresford home. The building was completed just before the San Remo is completed. You can see some of the other stunning buildings all along the way here.
Got it?
All right, everybody, here we are at the Beresford, sitting between 81st and 82nd Street. I'll be sure to zoom in on a lot of the architectural details among the entrances.
Yeah.
And quite literally your neighbors with the Museum of Natural History across the street. That is Theodore Roosevelt Park and the Museum of Natural History. You'll notice a lot of young families on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Right as we make this left, you'll see the 81st Street Museum of Natural History subway station, where you can get the B and the C trains. Again, a quick peek at the lovely landscaping there. And we'll now explore the main Central Park West entrance. I want to share something really special with everybody, which is going to be the crown jewel here at the Beresford. If you go on Street Easy and look up the penthouse that encompasses the 14th and 15th floors, you can see the full listing. 24 rooms in total, 10 bedrooms, 9.5 bathrooms. And it was last on the market in 2015, where it was delisted. But at the time, it was on the market for $62 million. It's a stunning 24-room terraced duplex. The photos are just unbelievable. You got to check it out for yourself. It has a 100-foot terrace facing the Central Park frontage. Which is extremely rare. It has a 50-foot gallery and a 30-foot living room with the fireplace. Here you can see those 3 crowns of the building. I'll try to give you as much coverage of the building as possible. Truly a stunning building. And you can see here right above the front entrance, it says erected in 1929. I just think about all the history of the Roaring 20s. What must have New York been like during the Roaring 20s, when everyone was making money hand over fist, leading up to the very famous 1929 stock market crash. Pretty amazing. I just love the limestone on the base too. All right, everybody, the last stop on our tour is going to be 300 Central Park West. It is called the El Dorado. This one was built a little bit later. It was built in 1931. And just like the San Remo, the El Dorado has these beautiful twin towers. But here we have a little bit of a shift in the architectural style to Art Deco. So we will begin our voyage up there now. In the meantime, we'll have a gaze at some of the beautiful brownstone buildings. And as we've done before, I don't want to walk up Central Park West. I want to take you all back to Columbus Avenue and then walk up. This way you'll be able to get a better feel of the neighborhood in terms of the shops, the dining, coffee shops. The El Dorado sits between 90th Street and 91st Street, right on Central Park West. So we got a little bit of a walk. It's probably going to be about a half mile, maybe a little less. It's about 10 blocks away. Here you can see this brownstone is for sale. Multifamily brownstone. This one kind of looks like it's fallen into a little bit of disrepair. I would bet somebody was probably going to buy this and perhaps turn it into a single family if it's allowed. It'll probably be a beautiful single family if that's permitted. We're going to pass 83rd Street. One of my first jobs in Manhattan as a teenager was right here on 83rd Street between Amsterdam and Columbus Avenue. Fun fact, my job title was a service agent, which is a fancy way of saying I was a car washer for Enterprise Rent-A-Car. When the people would return their vehicles, I would take them down into our dungeon of a basement and vacuum all the junk out, as well as detail the outside, wash the cars down. And that's where I would meet Jerry Seinfeld. And I've gotten to talk to him a little bit over the years because his private personal garage is on 83rd Street between Amsterdam and Columbus. And since I spent so much time there, I would constantly see him riding his bike to his garage. He would get in these just unbelievable cars that he had in his collection. And he would, take him, drive him around, probably pick him up on Fridays, take it out to the Hamptons. And that is where I saw many episodes of one of his television shows he would film. I believe it was called Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. He started filming right here, literally. It's this building. If you want to look it up on Google Maps, just punch in Enterprise Rent-A-Car in between Columbus and Amsterdam on 83rd Street. And Jerry Seinfeld's private garage is across the street from the Enterprise. Very nice guy. I've said hello to him a few times. This was, 1,000 years ago. This was probably 2013, 2014. In any event, I thought maybe many of the viewers would enjoy that story. But as you can see, a lot of nice boutiques, antique stores, thrift stores, tons of restaurants, just so much variety to choose from. It's quite enjoyable just walking around the Upper West Side and looking at all of the cityscapes. In our next Upper West Side walking tour, we're going to be focusing on the works of Rosario Candela, which will take us to the complete opposite side of the Upper West Side, predominantly by Riverside Park, as opposed to Central Park, because many of Rosario Candela's works sits on West End Avenue. Another quick tip for you all, if you're visiting the Upper West Side of Manhattan, the best breakfast place in the city, bar none, hands down, not even a competition, sits right on the corner of West 85th Street in Columbus. Right here, it's called Good Enough to Eat, 520 Columbus Avenue. Once again, it's called Good Enough to Eat, Columbus Avenue, 85th Street. It's unreal, this place. This is now the corner of 86th Street and Columbus. If you were to make a left and go over towards Broadway, that is where you're going to get the 1 train. And the 1 train runs local, but you can get off at 72nd Street, where it will turn into an express train. This coffee shop is called the Plant Shed, 555 Columbus. You could buy some plants, but also get some coffee here. Such a unique little spot. Check out this cityscape here. I love looking at the water towers in New York. If you want to pull up the El Dorado listing on Street Easy, just punch in 300 Central Park West, and you'll find that there's only 3 units for sale in the entire building. You have apartment 1JA, apartment 9K, and apartment 12G2, which just went under contract. It was last listed for $4,995,000, a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment at the El Dorado. It's important to note that all of the buildings we talked about today are found in the Central Park West Historic District. This is a district that spans 61st Street to 97th Street on the famed Central Park West. The district was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1989, with the El Dorado receiving its notable distinction that same decade. This is now 89th in Columbus. And if we stand back, you can see the 2 beautiful towers. If you want to look at the listing, that is the crown jewel of the El Dorado. Check out apartment 29GH. Again, 300 Central Park West, apartment 29GH. It was last on the market in February 21st, 2015 for $29 million. More beautiful brownstones here. But that unit also has sweeping views of Central Park as well. Has 13 rooms in total, 5 bedrooms and 6.5 bathrooms. I really like this one with the white facade. It's beautiful. Oh wow, here's another one. I'll give you a little bit of a preview into our next walking tour of the Upper West Side as we highlight the Rosario Candela buildings. A lot of people don't know this, but Rosario Candela was a professor at Hunter University at one point. Now you might be thinking, oh, he was a professor of architecture at Hunter College? Oh, that seems pretty obvious. Well, it wasn't architecture. He taught a course on cryptography. Rosario Candela took an amazing likingness to cryptography, so much so that when the war started, he worked for a government agency controlled by the CIA due to his expertise in cryptography. But we'll talk about that a little later. I'll give you a little bit of a teaser. You can see those beautiful twin towers here. The El Dorado. Again, sitting between West 90th and West 91st Street. A beautiful building. get right up close to the building so you could see. Even the security cameras have been brushed to match the facade. That's a nice touch there, so it doesn't stick out too much. It's quite an amazing building. You can really see those Art Deco style and design. I like the silver outer trim. It's very, very nice touch. Here we'll have a view looking southbound. I feel like they could do a little bit of a better job with the landscaping though. All of the other ones we've looked at had nice landscaping here. Maybe they're just changing it out for the fall. You never know. But of course, looking all the way down into Midtown Manhattan, you can see Billionaires Row. If you guys enjoyed that walking tour of Emory, Roth's most magnificent buildings on the Upper West Side, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and as always, we will see you in the next one. And thank you so much for watching. Take care.